Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News today. Coming up, one confirmed dead, another injured after demolition task force enforcing Making Accra Work Again campaign was attacked by Earth Youth at Bachona on the Spintex Road in Accra. Also, Parliament renders unqualified apology to Ghanaians after yesterday's near fisticuffs over the approval or otherwise of the 2022 budget. We'll hear from the Director of Public Affairs, Kate Ado, who is assuring of ongoing talks to address the impasse. And Joy Prime Made in Ghana Fair opens today with exhibitors promising great discounts and takeaways for patrons. More from what to expect between today and Sunday at the Junction Mall, Nungwa Beria. We have details of these, plus business, sports, world news and showbiz. My name is Mapisa Sibidi. Pleasure to have you here. Do stay. Thank you for staying with us. In our first story, one person has been confirmed dead and another injured after attempting to slash a police officer with a machete at Spintex Kotobabi in Accra. The squatters attacked a demolition task force led by the Tema Metropolitan Assembly enforcing the Making Accra Work Again project. There were gunshots after attempts by the police to rescue the works engineer and members of the task force who were evacuating the squatters. Regional Commander of Police DCOP Edisiedu said the injured person is responding to treatment.
Squatters who are mostly Nigerians involved in those things, they pounce on the engineer. The police had to rescue him, and in anger they turned on the police, stoning them. The police restrained themselves, but along the way, one of them particularly took a machete, advancing to slash one of the police officers. It's at that point that the police needed to what? Defend themselves. So a shot was given and he fell. He got injured. One other person was also hit, and the police wanted to pick them, then they picked them, they themselves prevented the police and took them to one of the hospitals nearby. But eventually the police went and rescued them and took them to a police hospital. In the course of treatment, one of them passed, but the other one is undergoing treatment at the police hospital. So while the police were concentrating in ensuring that law and order is here, a section of them passed at the back to go and attack the divisional headquarters. So the divisional commander radioed for reinforcement. So as regional command, we directed all patrol vehicles to move to this direction to support and maintain law and order. And that is why we are here.
The MCE for the area also visited the scene to ascertain the situation on the ground.
So many years now they've been here and they never wanted to move, but because of the fire I took advantage of the situation, came here to demolish the rest of the structures over here.
So this parcel of land now, what are you going to use it for?
Initially we wanted to hand it over to the government for the Agenda 111, but we got information back that it was too small. The minimum they are looking for is about 15 acres, and this is about 3.8 or so, which obviously we cannot use it. But we are thinking of using it as a shopping mall to serve the whole community. So that is what we intend doing with the land.
Now, Parliament has assured Ghanaians of working to resolve the disagreement over the approval or otherwise of the 2022 budget. According to the Public Affairs Directorate, the gains achieved in the last 24 years will be guarded jealously. This comes on the back of a near fisticuffs which ensued in Parliament yesterday after First Deputy Speaker Joseph Osei Owusu ruled that he was not the Speaker as he threw out a motion by the minority.
Honourable members, when it comes to the question of voting, it is very clear. Anytime any of the deputy speakers or any other member elected to preside is in the chair, that member does not vote. That has never been in dispute. Anytime a member is presiding, either a deputy speaker or a member who by necessity is elected from among members to preside, that person does not vote. He's debating. We are debating. Who was that? Shut up! You should shut up, brother. Who was that? Can the messenger find that person and vote him out? So, honorable members, let me put on record that I am a member of parliament. I was counted to make the motion and I
suspended in this house. What are you doing? You don't rule on it. We have to take a decision.
I did not vote.
Tell me in the standard of what is
for the application.
He cannot rule. He cannot rule on nomination. That is before the house. No. How can he rule on the nomination? He cannot rule on the voting before the house. How can he rule? So as the standard order.
Honourable members, sitting is suspended for 1 hour.
You are not a speaker. You are not a speaker.
But the Director of Public Affairs, Madam Kate Ado, who's unhappy with the recent developments, has rendered an unqualified apology to the general public, adding there are ongoing talks to settle the impasse. Kate Ado has been speaking to my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
The opportunity, and obviously everybody's anxious to see an end to what you describe as the impasse. It's been a very stressful few days. But we want to assure everybody that, as I'm sure everyone is aware of, this is in the best interest of the country. All the parts that are agreeing or disagreeing are doing so based on very deep convictions that have to do with the public interest, and that is what is paramount. We recognize that there have been issues that the public is anxiously waiting to see a resolution, and Parliament finally coming out with solutions to what seems to be major disagreements at the moment. We can, as Parliament, we can assure the citizens that we are working on ensuring that as soon as possible, as soon as practicable, we'll be able to put together a resolution that will serve the interest of each and every Ghanaian. And that is what we are working for. That's what the Parliament, institution of Parliament was actually set up for. And so as soon as possible, Parliament is going to come out with the final resolution to the matter. I can assure you that the leaders, the relevant actors in the game are working together to ensure that we are able to come to some consensus for work in the Parliament to go on. This is the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic. 4 times 8 is 24 years. We've come a long way. We are very jealous of the gains that we've made as an institution. We are not about to not let those gains mean something to us. And so would like to assure everybody that as soon as possible, Parliament is coming out with some resolution to the matter, and the relevant people are speaking to each other. And we are hoping for a resolution.
How soon is this resolution going to be?
Well, they are talking, and that is the good thing. Yesterday they were in consultations, and today I know that they are in further consultations as soon as possible. These are issues that have to do with oversight, and it's at the core of what Parliament does. And so it's imperative that every I is dotted and every T is properly crossed. And that's why we are seeing what we are seeing. But I would also like to take the opportunity to explain that the work of Parliament, not just in Ghana, but in Africa, the world over, tend to be sometimes very forceful, especially when people have convictions that they stand by. And so while what is happening may not be the best, it is not out of the ordinary in parliamentary practices the world over. We pray that we don't see things like that in our parliament. But when they happen, or if they happen, I think it's best to know that everything is being done with the utmost interest of the public at heart. We apologize for what may not sit well with people, and we promise that as much as possible, we will work bearing in mind the nuances and the cultural sensibilities of the people that we serve.
Once again.
Let's go to Parliament. Parker joins us on the line with more. Now, Parker, we understand a 20-member committee has been put together. Tell us more about that.
Must, you know that this is not the first time, or what happened yesterday in Parliament wasn't the first time we saw. Yesterday in Parliament wasn't the first time we saw almost chaos happening in the chamber. That's actually the second time, and so Parliament itself is not enthused about the situation. They believe that what is happening does not augur well for our democracy, and for that matter, a 20-member committee has been put together to resolve this issue and also to ensure that going forward, the chaos we saw does not recur. Now, we have 10 members from each side of the House, so 10 members from the NPP, whilst we have another 10 members from the NDC. The NPP, we are told, is being led by Dan Botwe, and some of the members include Katie Hammond, Patricia Apreje, Patrick Boama, Lydia Hassan, Afenyo Makin, Habib Idrisu, Frank Anodompre, and Joe Gate. We also understand that with the NDC camp is being led by Muntaka Mubarak, that's Swansea Member of Parliament. We also have Roxanne Nelson Dafiemepo, Sam George, James Agaga, Kwabena Minta Kando, Enlex Nobe, Ahmed Ibrahim, Richard Achampon. So these are some of the members of the team who are expected to meet today and ensure that all the disagreements over whether or not to approve the budget would be resolved. And I can tell you that I have picked information from my sources within the corridors of Parliament that it is likely Parliament may not go ahead with today's proceedings, the actual proceedings. What Parliament is going to do is to come with the Speaker, and the Speaker is likely, it won't be the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, but rather the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andrew Esiama, being the former MP, who will come, will say the prayers and adjourn sitting for next week. Now, the point is that they want to put on record that today Parliament sat for proceedings. However, they're giving opportunity to the team to go through all the concerns being raised. And we know that the 5 demands, we know that the NPP or government has conceded to 4. Now, the only major issue for controversy or of controversy is the Momo tax. The NDC is still insisting that they want the 1%, whilst the NPP say they will only reduce it to 1.5. And so it is the 0.5 that has generated the whole controversy. Well, this team, this 20-member team, would have today, tomorrow, till up to next week, Tuesday, to ensure that all the concerns are addressed. And when they are addressed, of course, Parliament will now move in to consider the estimate. So these are the information we have picked from the corridors of power. Of course, I mean Parliament and then the meeting that is currently ongoing.
All right, thank you very much. That's my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, and he's live in Parliament with that Budget 2020 controversy. But from Parliament to the Ashanti region, where the Asante Hini Otumfo Osei Tutu II was the Inspector General of Police to help deal with the proliferation of arms in the country. The overlord of the Asante Kingdom says the phenomenon poses a threat to the country's security. The Ashanti made the charge when the IGP, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, paid a courtesy call on the Manshia Palace as part of a visit to the region. Now Agyemang has more in this report.
The Ashanti cited examples from neighboring countries to justify the need to maintain the peace in the country. He observed the proliferation of arms is a worrying phenomenon, hence the need for the police to step up efforts towards dealing with sources of the proliferation.
If you look at the happenings in the neighboring countries, we should be worried. There are too many arms in the country. Most of them are not licensed, but they are in the hands of the people. These are the weapons deployed in armed robberies. How did they get into the country, and from where? If they are locally manufactured, you should find the manufacturers. If they are imported, how do they do it? These are issues you must investigate and end it.
The Otumfo commended the IGP for his good works in the initial period of his tenure, emphasizing the need to foster good relationships with the citizenry. To bring dignity to the service, the Ashanti wants the police service to ensure discipline among personnel.
Some of the people in the force are not competent, others are doing very well. Some of them are supplying their weapons to armed robbers. These are some of the things you must stop.
Meanwhile, the IGP has emphasized his drive to improve standards in the service. We have worked under different police administrations and have learnt a lot. My administration wants to raise the bar. We worked under them and have realized the good things they did and how we can improve in other areas. For Joy News, Agyemang, Kumasi.
The Ministry of Energy has indicated it will soon begin demolishing and relocation of poorly constructed buildings that pose threats to electrical installations. Sector Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh reiterates the need to ensure such sites are kept safe to maintain constant power supply. He spoke at a press conference as part of his engagement with stakeholders and inspection of some power installations in Greater Kumasi.
Parts of Greater Kumasi have recently experienced power cuts. The Ghana Grid Company Limited Gridco has attributed this to an incident of interference from a communication tower, damaging 3 of its transmission lines, including a 330 kV Kumasi to Amboise line. Energy Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh says these occurrences are severe interferences to constant power supply in the region, hence the need to embark on an operation to ease electrical transmitters.
And it's complicated because your lines going through to the north go through Ashanti. And technically, it's made our situation worse. Don't construct structures near high tension cables and things because it can have an effect on the whole public good that we are enjoying. If we are going to go around in high cables, you see structures everywhere. And we have to be proactive. It has happened. We should make sure it doesn't happen to any of our transmission lines because the transmission lines and their towers are not off-the-shelf items.
Dr. Opoku-Prempeh asks electricity officials to efficiently monitor transmitters across all stations to ensure buildings are not wrongly situated. He is positive this can aid in reducing the occasions of electricity disruption on transmission lines.
Who gave them the permit to site where they sited? And you begin to see that it is also another official who was probably sitting around one of our district offices, planning authorities, who gave the people the site. And I think this is a classic example of probably what I'll call regulatory failure. Those who have to regulate the living spaces we live in have regulated it and it has backfired. So we all have to learn the lessons. We will continue to give the support to ECG and GRICO to ensure that whatever necessary is done. A generation in the middle belt going north to stabilize the system and to prevent such occurrences to the minimum or to zero happens.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Energy has apologized to consumers for the recent power crisis. From Kumasi, Emmanuel Osei reporting.
From the Ashanti region to the Volta region, the Electricity Company of Ghana has provided the Povi police barrier in the whole West District with power 42 years after the security installation was established. The initiative is expected to enhance security at the first police checkpoint in the Volta region on the Accra-Ho Highway, stationed on a disputed land. Now, there's more in this report by Fred Kwame Asari.
The Povi barrier was mounted in 1979 during a conflict between the people of Peki and Chito over ownership of the land. The barrier was to serve as a buffer between the feuding factions and to respond swiftly to emergencies. However, 42 years after establishing the installation, which played a crucial role in the fighting of crime, it was not provided with electricity. Officers here rely on a generator set and solar energy. The Volta Regional Police Commander, DCOP Odro said the predicaments of the officers stationed at the barrier informed him to appeal to the power distribution company to extend electricity to the installation.
Despite the numerous benefits of this barrier, personnel have had to survive all these years without electricity. 2 years ago, when I assumed command in this region, my staff officer and I took the initiative to write to the PV ECG district manager and the regional office requesting for the installation of a transformer that could provide electricity for personnel at the barrier. Thankfully, the new regional general manager, Mr. Emmanuel Lumo, took up the request, and I'm happy they have listened to our cry and assisted us in the provisions of a transformer that has a capacity to serve a whole community.
The project, costed at about 101,000 Ghana cedis, saw the provision of a 50 kVA transformer, poles, overhead cables, single-phase meter, installation of street lights and minor renovation works done on the duty post. The Volta and Uti Regional General Manager of ECG, Emmanuel Lumo, explained the project forms part of an initiative to make the Volta region a hub of excellence customer service.
As a company, we are committing and ensuring all our customers, including the police and other security agencies, are certified. We believe when police are comfortable, they will transfer love to our customers who end up patronizing our services legally to improve the financial health of our company.
Other stories, the 2020 vice presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, Professor Nana Opoku Agyemang, has described as an indictment on the conscience of the society the continued stay of the alleged witches' camps in some parts of the 5 regions of the north. She said the camps should not be left to the point where people will begin to accept their existence as part of the society. Martina Bugri has more.
The Lely Dabari alleged witches camp, which is home to about 150 women, is located in the Gushegu municipality of the northern region. These women, who are mostly elderly, live in terrible conditions and only rely on benevolence to survive. As part of a 3-day visit of the northern region, the 2020 vice presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, Professor Nana Opoku Agyemang, visited the camp where she donated food items, drinks, used clothes and an undisclosed amount to the women. She called for a total disbandment of all alleged witches camps in the country.
We needed to find out what the real needs were, and we were given a long list. But we also know that if people don't eat, there's nothing else that they can do. That is why we have come here today
So I want to thank God that it is possible now to do so. So we have brought a few items of 50 bags of rice, 20 bags of maize, gallons of oil, water, sanitary materials, cleaning materials. And we want you to know that this is not a one-off thing, that as God permits, as and when we'll come and visit you.
She advised the youth to desist from the act of maiming, lynching, and assaulting women in the name of witchcraft.
Some of the youth who make this possible. And I want to remind all of us that when we pray for long life, we pray that that long life will be lived in peace. We don't pray that we have long life so we are moved away from our families, from our friends, and we go to environments where we don't have water, we don't have food, we don't even know what we are doing. My interest is to find out why this happens, to reduce it to the barest minimum, if not to get rid of it. Because everyone deserves to live a dignified life.
The caretaker of the camp thanked Professor Nano Agyemang for her kind gesture. He outlined some of the challenges facing the camp.
I want to thank for the food because the running mate of John Mama brought big food for our old ladies in Ushegu, the alleged witches. So we are very happy. So we thank her very much for the support. God will bless her. And the challenges of the women, there are rooms where they stay are linking, and how to move to town, they are finding it difficult during rainy season. And there's no light, so during the night time, they find it difficult to move around. They also don't have a granny meal.
The United Nations Capital Development Fund, through its Boosting Green Employment and Enterprise Opportunities in Ghana project, is constructing a £2.6 million worth climate-resilient proof covers bridge at Yabu in the Ahanta West Municipality of the Western Region. The project, which kicked off in September this year, is expected to be completed by November this year to serve and relieve the community members from the unbearable situations during the rain. Correspondent Inathala Kwanza has more in this report.
This is a typical concrete making site. Ideally, it should have been dominated by men, but the reverse is seen here. Over 30 women given the opportunity under the United Nations Capital Development Fund through its Boosting Green Employment and Enterprise Opportunities in Ghana project to construct these culverts here at Yabil in the Western Region.
This project, and I'm on here,
Green Project is responsible for the construction of this bridge. I have never seen women fixing culverts, but here in the Ahanta West, women equally are able to fix the culverts because the men are inadequate. The number of the men are 18 while we are 30. We support the men in fixing the culverts. We are grateful to Green Project, and accounts have been opened in which our monies are deposited for us to go and collect. This road has been deplorable for about 23 years. Now that it is being fixed, if anyone would want to come to Kejebu, it would be much easier.
The construction of the climate resilient proof culvert bridge has become necessary considering the deplorable nature of the road between the Yabil and Kejebu communities. The Ahanta West Municipal Works Engineer Frank Japon, speaking to Joy News, says members of the two communities were not able to access nearby facilities such as schools and healthcare centers, among others, whenever it rained.
And the Kejebu side is going towards the where the COVID is constrained, so that, as you said, especially the pregnant women, the children, and the other people too, they can have easily access to the health facility. The chief's compound is just about some few meters away from the COVID, and the KGB COVID, chief's compound is also very far from here. So we constructed this COVID specifically to link between the two communities so that they can have access to the chief compound.
The Boosting Green Employment and Enterprise Opportunities in Ghana project is a 4-year action plan from the European Union, the Embassy of the United Kingdom of Netherlands in Ghana, SNV Netherlands Development Organization, and the United Nations Capital Development Fund.
Exhibitors who are at the Made in Ghana Fair organized by the Joy Prime channel are promising to meet the expectations of patrons who have started trooping to the Junction Mall where the event is taking place. The fair showcases everything made in Ghana, from clothes to instruments to detergents and cosmetics. CEO of Savida Bonwa Kente, Sakodi Ado, assures patrons of free ahinema and 2 yards of Kente ready for you to pick up.
We have the Royal Kente and the Casual Kente as well. These days, because of the constitution we have in this country, we cannot go back to the olden days where certain types of Kente are not worn by ordinary person. But today, you are free to wear whatever you wish to wear, whatever, provided it's okay for you. Yeah.
Right, I see. So, Savida Bonwa Kente, is it like the one you're wearing?
Yes.
Oh, but it's beautiful.
That is Abrimpon Kente.
Is that the name for what you're wearing?
Yes. And the modern name we're giving to is Obama.
Why?
Because when Obama came to Ghana, the president by then gifted him with one of these designs.
Oh, okay.
So when the customers come, they say, oh, I want Obama Kente. Like one of the design we call Gifty Auntie.
Why?
The real name is Ejini Sijiniso Obapa.
Ejini
Sijiniso Obapa.
Ejini Sijiniso.
Yeah, Ejini means a pattern or design.
Ejini.
Yes.
Ejini.
Okay. So Ejini Sijiniso is like one design is upon the other.
Okay.
It's a type of kente which you have a double face.
Okay.
Both the back and the front are all the same.
Okay.
So make sure you join us at the Junction Mall in Nongwa for all of the exciting Made in Ghana products. On that note, I'm going to take a quick breather for business.
Good afternoon, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Government says it has instituted some policy imperatives to facilitate intra-Africa trade under the Continental Free Trade Agreement. According to the Trade Ministry, ensuring seamless customs operations at the ports is one of the many initiatives being rolled out to ensure smooth trade under the pact. Information Minister Kojo Ponkuma spoke on behalf of the Sector Minister at the South Africa Economic Zones Organization's annual meeting.
Private sector operators cannot harness the benefits of both SEZs and the operationalization of the AFCFTA if we do not develop programs and projects to deal with the high cost of trading across our borders, weak trade infrastructure, inefficient customs clearance, and the unnecessary bureaucracy and red tape which tend to impede smooth regional trade. It is in this light, and in the light of these challenges, that member states of the AFCFTA need to pay dedicated attention to the various elements being promoted under the African Union's Programme of Action for Boosting Intra-African Trade.
Agyemang Ghana has presented 4 Kondi Huskers and a track to 4 Yedens Agro Group of companies, aggregators and farmers in the Bono and Ahafo regions rather. Now, according to Managing Director of Agyemang Ghana, Daniel Saki, the financing of the equipment worth about $160,000 is to help the aggregators produce more as well as help reduce post-harvest losses. He made the remarks during the handing over ceremony at the forecourt of Yedend Agro Group of Companies in Sunyani. Precious Semevo has more.
EcoBank Ghana facilitated the acquisition of the 4 Condi Huskers and the truck at $160,000 for the aggregators through Yedant Agro Group of companies to be paid back under flexible terms. This is the outcome of transparent discussions the farmers had with EcoBank and the agro-processing company 4 months ago. The Huskers are expected to support about 6,000 outgrowers and smallholder farmers from 83 different communities. Speaking on the theme Inclusive and Sustainable Finance for Agribusiness Value Chain, the Managing Director of EcoBank Ghana, Daniel Saki, noted that despite the risk factor, the bank believes the equipment would make the processing of harvested maize more efficient and reduce post-harvest loss, hence more money for the farmers.
As a bank also, we believe we are committed to the communities within which we operate. And that is why supporting the agribusiness value chain in these communities is important for us, because it directly impacts the life of the various communities. And we believe that if we are able to do this successfully, then we can help our communities grow. We can help our youth stay within the communities. When you harvest your maize, instead of shelling it manually, these machines will enable you to do that in a more efficient manner. And in so doing, we are directly contributing towards reducing post-harvest losses. And if we can prevent that, then immediately we'll be putting more money into the pockets of our farmers. Our expectation is that you will make all your payments on the mobile app so that there will be a history of what you are paying for. And in so doing, we will then able to use that history to give you more financing so that you can produce more.
The CEO of Yadent Agro Group of Companies in Konadu thanked EcoBank for believing in their business concept and supporting the aggregators.
The volume of maize required this year is about almost 15,000 metric tons. And the shellers are going to help the smallholder farmers reduce post-harvest losses. And I think that's what EcoBank have realized and seen us as a very good value chain actor and anchor, and have come in. You see how they are supporting our farmers. They are supporting production, they are supporting transportation and haulage, they are support end to end. There is support everywhere. It's about the livelihoods that we impact.
An aggregator, Upon Kweku, said the support from EcoBank would help them produce more promptly, and they would honor their side of the deal to ensure more farmers also benefit. Bono Regional Minister Justina Osubanahini applauded EcoBank for the bold steps taken to support the farmers despite the risk factors. She appealed to other banks to emulate EcoBank so that farmers can expand their output to ensure food security in Ghana. Precious Semevo, Joy Business, Sunyani.
And there's more business news at the top of the hour. Up next is sports. Hello, time now for sports. On Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. The Ghana Football Association said its vision is to allow many fans into stadia for league matches. The reason, they introduced no vaccination, no entry policy about a month ago. According to General Secretary Prosper Harrison Addo, players and officials are fully vaccinated and they will enforce the directive immediately. Government demands of aid.
We do a lot of engagements with the health authorities who have helped us tremendously during this COVID time. And so we, as an association, we have 25% capacity in terms of our attendance, and we are pushing for more. And you can see that the love. Some people say the love is back. Some say it's coming back. It is coming back. Whichever way you look at it, there are more people than the 25 who are interested in going to the matches. So we are in some form of engagement at the background to see the increment of the numbers. And one of the key negotiating factors is the vaccination. Yes, in the countries that have full capacity today, it's because they vaccinated to a point. A chunk of their population. Yes. And so we would position ourselves to support government in this quest where we have vaccines and to encourage people to go and get them.
In other words, you want to use football as a tool to get the football community to get vaccinated?
Yes. And if we can do that and get more people to the park, it's good for the clubs, it's good for the competition, is good for the nation. I always say that in a pandemic, the health laws are what you project first, because you need to save lives because before the economic superstructure will come in. And so we've been helping with the players last year, we do the test and everything. And indeed, if you look at the FIFA document on the return of football, the CAF one, our own match day COVID-19 protocols, it's all to support the health authorities to achieve. Once they achieve, we all achieve. And so whatever advice comes from them, we also project it. We know this will come. And so we are alerting our patrons to be at the forefront and to take the vaccine. We know with football numbers. When you say today, if you don't vaccinate, you don't enter. A lot of people
will get vaccinated.
Then a lot of people will be in the queues. In terms, so we don't want it to be chaotic. That's why we are alerting
ahead of time. So when do you intend for it to take effect? Because I remember when I spoke to the president, he said with immediate effect. When I went to the Ghana Premier League venues, I was there on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, we said we were waiting for directions. Yes, but when the directions come and they said this is what we are doing, it takes immediate effect when the directions come. So that's why we are saying people should take the vaccines now before we get there.
The directives.
Yes, because when the directives come, that you can now take full capacity or 80% capacity if you are vaccinated. We don't want them, people are rushing.
The Black Princesses are optimistic of a good result against Zambia in the 2022 FIFA Under-20 World Cup first leg qualifier. After weeks of preparations, Ghana departed the country on Tuesday and landed in Zambia on Wednesday. Well, head coach of the team, Ben Foucault, is very optimistic the preparations will serve them good in this fixture. Princesses will come up against the young Copper Queens in the 2022 FIFA U20 World Cup qualifier in Lusaka. This is after the decision of Mauritania to withdraw from the competition, allowing Ghana to have a passover. The junior female national team that has been in camp for about 3 months have got 5 players from the silver winning team of Hazaka's ladies that participated in the maiden edition of the CAF Women's Champions League in Egypt. Head coach Ben Foucault is confident the preparations they've had is enough to secure success.
I think it's about 3 months ago we started the campaign, making sure that we can have a formidable team to represent the nation. At this stage, you can see that we are now departing to Lusaka. We prepared very well and have some series of friendly matches which we are always positive of winning the game. So for now, as we are going now, we just have to go there and make sure that those players we picked, we're making sure that they can give a good result so that we can beat the nation.
Golden Ball and Boot winner of the CAF Women's Champions League, Evelyn Bedu, says this is an opportunity to make themselves and Ghana proud.
Should expect a lot from us because we have been in camp for about 3.5 months now. So I think 3.5 months is enough for me. It's enough for us to have a good preparation, and we are going to make ourselves proud and make Ghana proud too.
The team left Ghana on Monday, November 30, and will hold a final training session on Tuesday before the game on Wednesday. And that is your sport for now, but we do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
And in world news, health officials say the new coronavirus variant, Omicron, has now become dominant in South Africa and is driving a sharp increase in new infections. Some 8,500 new COVID infections were registered in the latest daily figures. That is almost double the 4,300 cases confirmed the previous day. Omicron has now been detected in at least 24 countries around the world, and that's according to the World Health Organization. South Africa was the first country to detect the highly mutated new variant. Its National Institute for Communicable Diseases has said more than 70% of all the virus genomes it sequenced last month have been of the new variant. Thank you very much, Becky. And that's where we draw the curtains on Joy News today. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com.